Sectumsempra, a blade without a hilt, a curse without remorse to mutilate. Its very name fuses Latin roots, sectum, meaning cut, and sempra, meaning always. In essence, the always cutting curse. Upon casting, the spell behaves like an invisible sword, lashing deep into its victim with unseen slashes. It bypasses physical armor and ignores human hesitation. The result? Deep lacerations, rapid blood loss, and immediate collapse. But Sectumsempra is more than a weapon. It's a manifestation of defensive darkness, a calculated curse designed not for showmanship, but for survival, but in fear. The spell is not classified as one of the 3 unforgivable curses, yet its brutality rivals them. That distinction, that loophole, makes it even more dangerous. Sectumsempra is rarely cast in battle due to its uncontrollable violence. When used, it's a last resort, a spell of finality. It cuts deeper than the body. It cuts into intent. Vulnera Sanentur. Not all creators of dark magic provide a cure. Severus Snape did. Vulnera Sanentur is the only known counter-curse to Sectumsempra, a healing incantation so advanced it borders on magical surgery. Where common charms like Episci close surface wounds, Vulnera Sanentur reaches deeper. It reverses hemorrhaging, knits torn flesh, and halts death in progress. Its name is pure Latin. Vulnera meaning wounds, and Sanentur meaning may they be healed. The phrase itself is poetic, and the casting must be as well. The spell is not barked in urgency. It's murmured in cadence, 3 times like a ritual. First, to slow the bleeding. Second, to begin the closure. Third, to fully seal the skin. But the magic doesn't work alone. Dittany, a rare restorative herb, is often needed alongside it to stimulate new tissue and prevent scarring. Without it, Vulnera Sanentur may halt death, but not restore wholeness. There's a quiet morality hidden in this spell's existence. Snape did not have to create it. He could have left Sectumsempra irreversible, a mark of vengeance with no return. Instead, he wrote a cure, and that says more about him than any duel ever could. Levicorpus. Shame in midair. Levicorpus is not a spell of destruction, it's a spell of humiliation. When cast, the target is yanked into the air by their ankle, suspended upside down as though an invisible hook has caught them. Clothes fall. Dignity vanishes. It's theatrical, sudden, and inescapable, a curse designed for spectacle. The name itself is blunt, from Latin levare, to lift, and corpus, body. It translates simply to lift the body. But its meaning runs deeper in context. For Severus Snape, it was a silent weapon, originally intended to be cast non-verbally, quick, quiet, and degrading. Snape likely created Levicorpus with one target in mind, James Potter. The Marauders mocked and hexed him constantly, and Levicorpus offered a form of retaliation. Magic leaves a legacy. There's no physical harm caused by Levicorpus, but its damage is psychological. It flips the victim, strips their control, and makes them an exhibit. Not painful, but profoundly exposing. A perfect spell for someone who spent years being laughed at. Liberacorpus. What Levicorpus begins, Liberacorpus ends. This is the release spell, a silent reversal designed to return the suspended body to the ground, often without warning or grace. The etymology is again Latin. Liberare, meaning to free, and corpus, meaning body. Together, free the body. Like its counterpart, Liberacorpus was crafted by Severus Snape during his school years and intended to function non-verbally. The pairing of these 2 incantations reveals something crucial about Snape's spellcraft. His magic was not only meant to afflict, but also to undo. For every lash, a latch. For every humiliation, an exit. We see this spell used most notably when James Potter, after publicly humiliating Snape with Levicorpus, reluctantly lowers him at Lily Evans' request. Liberacorpus is rarely taught, rarely referenced, and rarely understood outside its original context. Muffliato. Silence is power. Muffliato is how you keep it. This charm fills the ears of everyone nearby with a soft, indistinct buzzing, like the faint hum of static or distant flies. Not painful, not suspicious, just enough to mask conversation. The mechanics are subtle but deliberate. Unlike a silencing charm which prevents sound from leaving the speaker, Muffliato targets the listener. It doesn't mute the room, it clogs the air between. Conversations can be held in plain sight, and no one hears a word. The name comes from the same linguistic root as muffle, to dampen sound, with the invented suffix iato lending a pseudo-Italian finish, as if disguising its true intent behind civility. Snape designed this charm for secrecy. Less attack, more advantage. For a student constantly under scrutiny and likely conducting potion experiments, private discussions, or covert spellcraft, Muffliato was essential in their arsenal. And yet, it was never taught at Hogwarts, not officially. That's because Muffliato violates a sacred boundary in wizarding education, the right to listen. Langlock. Some silences are forced. Langlock is a jinx of immediate consequence, binding the target's tongue to the roof of their mouth, rendering them utterly unable to speak. No words, no incantations, just mute panic. Its linguistic construction is simple but sharp. Lang from language or lingua, Latin for tongue, and lock meaning exactly that. It locks your voice inside your own mouth. Snape designed Langlock with utility in mind, a restraint tool in both verbal combat and actual dueling. In a world where spellcasting depends on speech, this charm disarms without disarming. The wand stays in hand, but becomes useless. Crucially, it works on both the living and the spectral. When Harry later discovers it in Snape's annotated book, he uses it on Peeves, the school's most uncontainable poltergeist. The result is eerie. Peeves, flailing and furious, unable to jeer. A walking noise machine reduced to silence. Harry also casts it on Argus Filch, the cantankerous caretaker, in moments of mischief. But even when used playfully, Langlock carries weight. It turns speech into a vulnerability. In the right hands, it's a defensive measure, a spell that speaks volumes by removing speech altogether. The Toenail Growing Hex. Every curse has its crown. This one wears a sock. Unlike Snape's other creations, which skew towards silence, secrecy, or savagery, the Toenail Growing Hex is pure magical mischief. It causes the target's toenails to grow at an absurdly accelerated rate. The spell has no known incantation in canon, but its effects are unmistakable. Curling nails, shredding through shoes, and immediate bewilderment. When Harry used it on Vincent Crabbe in his 6th year, the reaction was both entertaining and mildly alarming. The charm produced what the book called very entertaining results. And yet, like all Snape's spells, it's cleanly designed. No lasting harm, no permanent mark. Just chaos, theatrically timed. If you want